Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. We live in a society where all institutions, all sectors of authority are clearly demarcated, and ordinarily there is no overlapping. So much so that for the orderly socio-political system, it's imperative that we adhere to the norms and do not cross the line. As a matter of fact, especially in a country which is so full of race, different nationalities and languages, it is extremely important to restrain oneself. This is true of countries like India, where imposition of one language can create a havoc. Same is true of Canada, where one province can have a different rules than the other province. But there are some uninformed, ambitious, but administratively naive people. And when they come into power, they behave in a manner that is absolutely unacceptable. And not only is it socially acceptable, not only it's politically abhorrent and detestable, it is fraught with danger to the national unity, and can create dissensions, ill will, and also such issues which may never be solved and might result into year-long confrontation. One such issue has been created by a city in GTA, which is always creating issues for no reason at all. And I'm talking about Brampton. Brampton recently passed, the municipality passed a resolution stating that Brampton should advertise in Quebec. Well, there's no harm in that. But what for? So that the people in Quebec who feel that they are discriminated against can get jobs in Brampton. Fair enough that I'll take it up in a couple of minutes. But the second issue is that they should also indulge in a legal fight with the province of Quebec against their recently passed law, which says that no religious symbols shall be displayed by the new entrants to the public service. New entrants. All the old people working would not be affected by this order, but the new entrants are aware that once they want a public service, then they have got to adhere to the law. And Quebec government also invoked a clause, notwithstanding clause. Notwithstanding clause means that even courts, whether they are superior courts or even the Supreme Court, cannot take cognizance of the matter. Now, it's such a serious matter which is beyond the judicial purview, and Brampton thinks that they will raise a legal challenge. Is absolutely idiotic. I know I'm insulting idiots, but they have crossed all limits. Now, first thing first, A, they want to advertise for the jobs in Brampton as if Brampton has got surplus jobs. The unemployment level in Brampton is more than 6%. Until and unless they are able to provide jobs to the residents of Brampton, is it desirable that they should offer jobs outside? And then, municipality can offer jobs only in the sectors which it controls. The private entrepreneurs would not be affected. The provincial and the federal jobs, they are not under the control of the mayor and his council. So only the city hall jobs can be advertised, and how many they would be? 10, 15, 20. Do the Bramptonians not have a right to that? Second point is, they say it's to avoid discrimination. Fine. Is it not discriminating against other citizens who are being discriminated in various parts of the world, of Canada? What about the indigenous people? Are we going to advertise specially or reserve the jobs for them? Does it not remind us of the absolutely lunatic system of reservations that happens in India? Are we going to perpetuate that stupidity of making merit not the criteria, but the color of your skin or the way you look at? The visible minorities already have an upper edge, especially in places like Brampton, that I'll come to in another talk. How the visible minorities are not visible minorities there. The visible minorities are now visible majorities. So calling them visible minority is a misnomer. So this action of Brampton Council in advertising jobs in Quebec is a non-starter. It's against the interest of Bramptonians. It's against the interest of those people. Suppose those people come. Then, do you have sufficient housing and infrastructure to give them the place to live? Already, the prices in Brampton, land and house prices, are going through the sky. You want to add to that scarcity? Imagination boggles. As I was saying, one can't understand the logic of this action of the council. Then comes the second. They want to pursue it in a court of law. What authority they have? Normally, only those people go to court to challenge a statute or a law who are affected by it, or they represent a cause, a not-for-profit organization, a private organization. The Council of Brampton is funded by the taxpayer directly and indirectly. Directly by the taxes of the Bramptonians, indirectly by the assistance given by the province and by the federal government. And the money is given to them for specific purposes. Is this one of the purposes? Is it not a betrayal of the trust of the voters? Secondly, what loci standi they have? They are not affected. and they are not an NGO. So why should they go? And thirdly, the law is already protected. The Quebec province is already protected by the notwithstanding clause. So is the purpose only to line the pockets some lawyers who are close to the mayor and the council? Apparently so. Other reason can be to win cheap popularity. So legally this proposition is unsound. Financially it is suspect. Quite possible it's a stinkhole. Now comes to the social aspect. Is this not discrimination in reverse? Is Brampton a supra-provincial authority that they can challenge the province? Would it not stoke the Quebecers' demand for secession and leaving the Confederation of Canada, considering that they are being challenged by a municipality? Naturally, the mischievous elements there can always say that this action of Brampton is being encouraged by federal and provincial politicians who do not accept the Quebec law. And that non-acceptance, since they cannot do it themselves, they have made Brampton a pawn in their hands. So legally it is wrong. Politically it is mischievous. Socially it's injurious. Now comes administratively. In a federal setup like Canada, the supremacy of provinces cannot be discounted in their own areas, in their own sectors. Even the federal government would not interfere in such issues. They might issue advisories as something else. The recent imposition of the carbon tax is being challenged. Though two Supreme Courts have given judgments in favor of the federal government, but 6 provinces are objecting. And the matter will go to the Supreme Court of Canada. Let's see what happens there. But the fact states that the provinces have their own set rights and their own areas where their writ runs supreme. Action can be taken by, as I said, either by the interest groups, not-for-profit organizations, or by the pressure groups, but not by municipality. It's administratively abhorrent. So from all aspects, administration, politics, legal, social, this move by the Brampton Council is misconceived and even mischievous. The only purpose seems to be to pose as saviors of the so-called visible majorities and to create and strengthen the vote banks. There's no sanity in this action. There's always a method in madness. Here it's sheer madness without method, without reason. As a matter of fact, it's a fit case for the provincial government, for Premier Ford, to step in, disband the present municipality, call for fresh elections. Possibly, some bit saner politicians can come in and protect from the xenophobic, racist, indisciplined, administratively weak, an illogical council that is in power in Brampton these days. They are making Brampton City a laughing stock. They are making Brampton City a thorn in the side of Canadian system. And the sooner they are set right, the better it would be for Brampton and better it would be for Canada. Thank you.